right, ready? 1, 2, go ahead. Hi GMs, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Jerixa, aka Jem, aka your favorite hype girl with a camera, and today is Sunday. It's a very chill, cozy Sunday. I'm currently here by myself. My husband's working on his car. Well, I'm not by myself because Miss Sienna is here, even though Miss Sienna has been sleeping all day. Homegirl likes to wake up at 5 a.m. and think that it's playtime. And those are like the last 2 hours that me and Wayne get to sleep. So I've lost a little bit of sleep this week, but it's okay. We're definitely learning. Today marks 1 week that we've had her. She seems to be getting used to being here. Right now she's behind the couch. I'll show you exactly where her like favorite spot is. Hello. Yeah, that's like her jam right now. Oof. I just had a small, very, very, very small panic attack. When I sat down, my shirt looked really weird. And I just kept fixing it and kept fixing it and kept fixing it. And I was just like, oh no, we have to abort the mission and we can't record anymore because now our shirt doesn't look right. And then I was like, no, that's going against my whole, we're not trying to be perfect anymore. We're just trying to share authentic content here. That's it. I'm not going to do a do-over. I'm not going to push this off to a different day. We're just going to jump in. So don't look at my shirt too long because then we'll be like, I knew it. I shouldn't have filmed. Let's get into the second episode on, oh my gosh, I hate when I can't think. Let's just get on to the episode with Fatima. She's located here in Florida, but she is down south near West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, all that stuff. So introducing Fatima.
All right, so how I did this last night is I just had the other person introduce themselves. So I'm gonna have you introduce yourself. Make sure you say your name and where everybody can follow you.
Sounds good. So my name is Fatima. I am a family photographer right here in South Florida. I'm actually based in Palm Beach County. As far as where to find me, I have my Facebook, my Instagram, and of course, I'll give you guys my website as well.
Okay, let's get it started. So obviously I know you're a mom. That was like my first thing. I was like, I want to know what it is to be a mom and do this because I'm not there yet. And I just need to know, like, what is it to be a mom and a business owner in this field?
I think the most obvious answer would be the time that you spend. So I have 2 children. One of my boys is in preschool. So he goes from like 8 a.m. and we leave him in there until like 5, 6 p.m. And then, girl. And then, yeah, exactly. And he loves it. He genuinely enjoys it. And then I have my younger son who's 2. He's home with me. So I'm also a stay-at-home mom of a 2-year-old, and he's a pretty wild, rambunctious 2-year-old. Like Jem hears me all the time. Hears him in the background all the time, yelling and screaming. So I have my hands full during the day. What does that mean? That means I don't get to get up at 9 o'clock and work. It means I need to get up at 9 o'clock and make breakfast and take care of my 2-year-old. So time is just a little bit different. I do a lot of my work during nap time or after he goes to sleep for the night. And every now and then, if I need to hop on the computer to check an email or send a contract, I have to like put a coloring book in front of him or give him my phone for YouTube or something. And so life is just a little bit different because your attention is much more divided when you're a mom. When it comes to like the shoots itself, I'm not available 7 days a week. I'm available. I have a more limited availability than somebody who maybe doesn't have children, who does photography full time. They have much more availability. So in general, running a business with 2 kids, it's hard. You just kind of I have to use my time more wisely.
Oh yeah,
like differently, basically.
We even had to work this around the kids. I was like, okay, I definitely have more open time than you do. When does your little one nap? Like, when are we going to be? So we literally had to schedule this in between the 2-year-old's nap time.
Exactly. And that's okay. Like, we just kind of have to
Yeah.
work with it. Yeah.
I did a branding shoot over the weekend with a photographer who's a mom of 2 as well. And we had to work it around when her husband was home and she was going to be able to be out of the house for a little
Precisely.
bit. But with everything that you're saying, and like I said, the other photographer that I met with over the weekend,
Yeah.
you guys are just telling me or showing me that the career doesn't have to stop because you have a kid. That I can
No.
still do this. I just have to work around it.
Right. It does slow down just slightly in the beginning. But then once you get back in the groove and there's a routine and you can keep going. Absolutely.
So how did you get into this industry? Like, what made you pick up a camera in the first place?
Bottom line, it was the love of creating art. I've always been creating ever since I picked up a pencil. I've been drawing. I grew up being I was a sketch artist. I grew up like designing wedding gowns. I wanted to become a fashion designer growing up. But when in the past few years, like my health took a turn and I wasn't able to sketch as much as I would love to. Even with my own like just cell phone pictures, I had Lightroom, the mobile app on my phone, just the free version. And I was just editing and editing. And I loved editing photos. Like, I love the creativity that comes with it. And that's basically it. And it kind of just like blossomed last year. No, like the year before last year. I can't believe we're already in 2023. So it's like not last year. So I had my second son and I went through pretty severe postpartum depression. And so I was not creating, and my happiness comes with creating. When I picked up a camera again, I was like, you know what? Like, it literally just pulled me out of my depression and it opened up so many happy doors for me. I took my camera everywhere with me just to keep practicing. Also, it's an outlet for me too.
Yes.
It's a way for me to express myself and channel my emotions in a more positive way versus just like laying in bed and crying.
That's awesome. It's the same for me. It's just like a creative out. Like, there's too many things in my
Totally.
head and I just need to get it out. And the way that I can get it out is like with creating.
Exactly.
Same exact way. So another question I have is, okay, we went over what it is to be a mom and have the business, but you're also married and have the business. So how is it being married? Like, does your husband ever be like, oh my God, you're on the computer still? Like, how is he support wise here?
Not at all. He actually he's amazing support. He was the person who told me that, like, just go for it. Do what makes you happy, because he knows what I've been through in the past few years. So he was ecstatic to see me do something super positive. Like, the second I said I need like a workspace, he sold his armoire and bought me a desk to put where the armoire goes, because we didn't have anywhere else to put it. Because for like the first few months I was just working, like my desk was my dining room
Oh yeah, we've all
table. And yeah, we've all been there. He bought me a monitor because I already had a laptop, but because I have a little bit of difficult seeing and it's kind of sucks being on Photoshop like on a laptop, he bought me a big monitor and mounted it on the wall. So
Yeah.
he's all for it.
Well, one of my questions is, when was your first wedding? And it was this past weekend for you.
Yeah. So it was so funny because when you originally sent me that questionnaire, I was like, I haven't done a wedding. That's going to be a quick one. I just had the pleasure of shooting my first wedding a couple days ago. I was a second shooter, so exactly what I wanted. Like, I do not want to take on my own wedding yet until I've done a few second shooting gigs so I can learn the flow. And it was really fun. It was amazing. It was a good experience. And I got the full experience. First we had to go to the first location for the getting ready. Then we had to go to the second location for the ceremony. Then, you do the formal portraits and you have like 4 seconds to do all the portraits.
Literally.
And gather everybody. Yeah. Then you have to rush to the third location, which is the reception.
Gosh, I love that. How many hours were you booked?
So I think it was like total from beginning to end about 6 hours.
Okay. Who did you specifically work with, the bride or the groom more?
Because the groom was getting ready at a totally separate location, he didn't really want any getting ready pictures. So I would say I really kind of worked with both. I was mostly with the main photographer when he was with the bride. And at that time, when we got to the first location, she was almost ready. She was just putting on her dress and her veil. So he quickly got those like last minute getting ready pictures while I'm on the other side doing like the detailed shots, the shoes, the earrings, and all that, the rings. We immediately took all the girls outside to quickly do like a few bridals. And then from then we just kind of had to go to the next place. At that point, right before the ceremony started, I caught like the groomsmen helping the groom with his jacket. So I like ran right over. I'm like, hold on, take the jacket back off and slow down.
Yes.
And then I pulled the groom outside to do a couple like solo shots. And then that was pretty much it. We literally had minutes. So that's the one thing about weddings. It's like there's no lollygagging. You do things quick.
You have to do it right then and there is no, we can.
There's no thinking. No, you do it now and that's it. Yeah.
Exactly. But like you said, like you, especially being a second shooter, but I feel like it's the same as the lead. Moments just happen. When you saw
just like that jacket moment. Yeah.
They just happen and you're just there. Oh, like that's what a lot of people don't understand. They're so scared with the whole like, I don't want to be posy. We're not going to really be posy with you because this is a wedding. Things are just going to happen.
You got to have your eyes and ears open at all times to like, and your finger just has to be on that shutter and just like, just right away. That was what was cool because it was a really good learning opportunity about just like being aware of your surroundings at all time.
It's almost like an adrenaline rush. Like you're almost like so anxious because you're like, I have to get everything. But then you look back and you're like, I literally got everything. Got it all. Tell me about your most difficult client.
It was a family shoot. It was at the park and it was a model call. So this was something that was supposed to be for my portfolio. Everything that I did, it just seemed like it wasn't enough. Even from pre-production, when we were prepping, everything was complicated down to like the underwear that needed to go to the shoot. Sheesh. I'm like, I had to get her underwear to take there because she could not pick out underwear. I'm like,
wait, so hold on. I need a full, what do you mean?
Well, it was a sheer dress. Then the session itself, like the kids got themselves dirty, like within the first 5 minutes. You can tell they might have had an argument before they came because there was 100% some tension. So she really wasn't smiling much. Not to mention she wore the dress backwards. And so when we got to post-production, so now I'm in Photoshop and she's like, can you like create a smile on my face? Can you remove my bra strap? And it was just like, it was a consistent, like, can you do this? Can you do that? And it just seemed like it was never ending. And eventually I put my foot down and I'm like, no, we're done. So I never really heard back from her again, which is fine. It taught me a lot about running a business. It taught me a lot about setting boundaries, standing up for myself. And when it comes to model calls, don't choose people just because they raise their hand. Choose people because they want to work with you. They have to appreciate what you do. It was definitely a complicated experience, but it definitely taught me a lot about catching red flags. Good. So I can't say that I regret it. It was just more like a huge, kind of like a time waster because I really wasn't able to use too many of the photos for my portfolio.
That stinks. But like you said, you learned some lessons and that's all
Absolutely.
What are you going to do? Let's talk about sending a gallery out. You're super excited. You're like, yes, I killed this. This person is going to be so excited. And then they don't say anything. How do you deal with not getting that thank you back or that like praise? Like that kills me.
At the very beginning when I started, I used to have a lot of emotions attached to this. And I used to really take it personally if somebody doesn't like respond saying thank you. To this day, of course, I would appreciate a thank you, especially because like clients don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. Like they just see a camera, but they don't realize that we go home and maybe spend like 8 hours on just a session. So they don't realize the work that goes on behind the scenes. And that's okay. Like, I don't understand the work that goes behind the scenes of like my hairdresser. So with that being said, I have to remove my emotions out of it. If somebody, the way I see it is like, do I rather have silence or do I rather them complain?
That's
Personally,
true.
I'd rather have,
That's true.
you know.
That's true.
So I take it as like silence just mean, it could mean a lot of things. Either they don't like it, and so I would rather just stay silent. Or maybe they're just busy and that's it. And some people have a really hard time with communication.
Yes.
And they don't realize the value of just a thank you. And again, I don't take that personally. A lot of times this stuff, the lack of communication is a reflection on the client. So, and
Not
that's
on your
okay.
photos.
Not on my photos, right? Exactly. I would rather have silence than a complaint.
Oh, I'm writing, you are like dropping literally gems here. I wrote down, don't pick someone just because they raised their hand. I
Right.
love that.
A friend of mine who's a hairdresser told me that. She's like, Fatima, you don't pick some, and you know the same hairdresser. She's like, don't pick people just because they raise their hand. Pick people because they fit your aesthetic style, they're flexible, and they appreciate what you do.
That
So
sounds like her. That sounds like her.
Of course. So shout out to you, girl. I know you know who you are if you're watching this.
You know who you are. Well, we did it. I'm so excited that we finally got to do this. And
That's
I was
awesome.
able to write down some of your stuff. I'm going to be using these as captions, girl, and I'm going to put you as the author.
Well, I'm really happy I was able to do this with you. I was like, I'm still congested. I feel like I'm just going to be congested for the rest of my life. Okay, there's no way I'm rescheduling. There's no way I'm doing anything. And my son is still asleep. Like, it just worked out. So
wait,
yeah.
So wait, before we get cut off, what are you gonna do now that your son is still sleeping?
I'm gonna upload 1,000 photos to Google Drive.
She's like, that's what I'm gonna. Wait. Do you ever nap while he naps?
Absolutely. So
All right, girl.
I feel like people need to nap during the day.
God, I wish I can turn my brain like to calm down enough where I could nap. I can't do it.
Absolutely.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.